Do you need more Eberron in your life? Because Keith Baker gave us more Eberron for your life. Hello everybody, Jordan here. The PH is silent. You're probably checking out your D&D 2024 Player's Handbook, and maybe you already have Eberron Rising from the Last War. Today we're going to look at an Eberron expansion that was released on the DM's Guild called Frontiers of Eberron Quickstone, and all of the cool things that are in it for your Eberron game, and maybe it'll be the supplement that gets you into Eberron. Oh, and quick side note, this is the third major book that Keith Baker has put out without Wizards of the Coast through the DM's Guild. So there's Exploring Eberron, which I have reviewed, and I'll put a link down below if you're curious about it, and then Chronicles of Eberron, which I didn't actually review yet. But love and have read, and I loved it so much I actually have a map of the plains on my wall in my game room. It's a really good book, so although it's old 5e, I should probably review that at some point too. All right, everybody, I like to swoop over to this view just so we can see the PDF a little bit easier. This does come in a print version. So I'll hop over here really quick. This is on the Dungeon Masters Guild. It is $34 for a PDF, which is a pretty steep price for a PDF. You are getting over 250 pages of really good Eberron stuff. And because it's Keith Baker, it's a lot of text to help you run the game and not as much flashy art, even though the art is really good. I just want to emphasize that you're getting really good text for your money. And then if you want to get the standard color book, it's about $60, which is a good price right now. So PDF plus standard colored book, $60. I recommend. The PDF was donated to me for review purposes, but as with my other two books behind me, I will most likely be ordering a standard color book as well. So links down below if you're interested. Those are affiliate links, and a little bit comes back my way, so check it out. So I'll also put this in here. What is the Frontiers of Eberron? So Droem here is kind of considered the frontier. This is an interactive map of Eberron. So if you're ever curious, this is a really good resource because freaking Eberron is huge and there's so many extra places you can go visit. But then you could really zoom in on this map. And it's pretty fun. So our adventure takes place in a town called Quickstone, which is actually in between Ardiv down here at the bottom and Greywall. It's along this road right next to the mountains there, the Greywall Mountains. And it's being marketed in this supplement as kind of the Wild West. I know your Eberron may vary, but it's pretty exciting that it's the Wild West. It's kind of this lawless land, and Breland here doesn't necessarily recognize Droem, and Droem is so close to the Shadow Marches and various other things. There's a lot of stuff happening. And so Keith Baker said in an interview that I was listening to that he really wanted to zoom in. So his last two books, Exploring Eberron and Chronicles of Eberron, those were big macro looks. They took in all of the planes of existence and the oceans and things like that. And what is it on a big scale? And for this one, he's like, what if we just zoomed in to not only a section, I want to do Droem, and then also let's zoom in on Quickstone, which is a town in this area, and what are the lives there? So this is a really cool way of just super zooming in and seeing all of the intricate cool stuff that a Eberron campaign can provide. Now, with this, there are some fun optional rules. There are some new species to play. There's information on various religions and cults and how those religions and cults operate and what they do specifically in this area. There's also new class options. There's new backgrounds. New species, I said, including Warforged. So if you want to play a Warforged, it gives you some rules for that. Magic items. And then there's an adventure that takes place in Quickstone, which I will have to remind myself if it takes you from 1 to 5. Yeah, for 5 first level characters, I believe this will take you to, you will advance to 5th level by the end of the adventure. So, called Heart of Stone. This particular book is written by Keith Baker, obviously, and the creator of Eberron, and Imogen Gingell. So Imogen is, I believe, one of the writers working on the Brandon Sanderson RPG. So really good author, does cool stuff. Frontiers of Eberron. This is just a fun kind of Wild West of Eberron, and I think it is really, really fun. So Life on the Edge, using this book, how to use this book, what are campaign themes, what are character roles, life and death, blah, 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 stuff like that. Really awesome. And then the cultures of Durham. It actually introduces the tieflings as an aspect of Eberron, because in 3rd edition, tieflings were not in Eberron, so it talks more about those. And then the Western Frontier, what are the different towns and cities and landmarks and things like that that are out here? And then Quickstone, which is this town on the border. And it talks a lot about specifically Quickstone, the people, the businesses, and what is good, what you're going to find there. Then there is new character options, treasures, feats, things like that. And then the adventure, Heart of Stone. Oh, and a bunch of monsters as well. Fearsome foes, I guess I should say as well. So some things that, I mean, if you like Eberron, you should get this. It's clearly a really good thing if you like Eberron. If you're looking for brand new class options and backgrounds, maybe not. But if you are playing 2024 D&D and you want to figure out how to do an Eberron game with 2024 D&D, there are a lot of helpful rules in here of like, we're going to remove, I believe in original Eberron for 5th edition, it was a feat to become, it was a race. So you would choose a race to be of a dragon marked house. And now that is all replaced with some of your starting feats, which is a 2024 D&D thing. So this has been updated to use the new rules. And things like just having the Warforged in there, I think is great. There is no Artificer. I believe Wizards of the Coast holds that tight to their chest, so they won't be allowing Keith Baker to make a full-on class for this. So it says here you can kind of scale this is an optional rule, basically, but like you can kind of scale the amount of death and what have you in your Eberron game. So I really like this. So one of them is death is always on the table. So when you're reduced to 0 hit points, you always fail death saving throws. So there's no rolling. So what that does is you have 3 rounds, really 2 rounds, to get your friend back up or they are gone for good. And I kind of like that. So you could say, hey, out here, the radiation from, I don't know, various demonic entities are really messing with life. And so you don't get death saving throws while you're out here on the frontier. Or maybe that's how your 5th edition games will work going forward. I kind of like that because it makes it a dangerous place. On the other side of that is safety in numbers. So it says up here that the characters can always stabilize if you have an ally within 60 feet of you. So you don't have to have an action to do that. So if you go down to 0 hit points, you are stabilized as long as somebody is close to you, but you might suffer a scar of some kind, which is going to, leave a mark on your player character moving forward. And then the other one is nothing but scars, where you automatically stabilize at 0 hit points. And the only way for characters to really die is if the player makes a choice to die. So if I go to 0 hit points, I can say, this is a good thematic death. I want to do that. Or I want to sacrifice my character for this thing to happen. And then what are scars? Scars are something that you lose. So it says here, the severity and nature of the loss can vary based on the circumstances of the defeat. If the player is defeated in a barroom brawl, they aren't going to lose a leg, but they could take a blow to their reputation. So a lot of these, not just like financial, but just where you are in the pecking order of the town. Are you are you seen as confident and strong, and then all of a sudden you take a turn and now you are not seen that way. But another thing, a big part of Eberron is like if you lose a limb, you can replace limbs with prosthetic limbs, which are in Keith Rising from the Last War. And also some of these other supplements have like symbiotes that you can get, and those symbiotes can replace certain appendages. And I really like that. So using some of these, especially the scar option, like, hey, you went to 0 hit points, you lost a leg. Now your character has advanced. We got to figure out that. Not every player likes that, so talk about it with your players before you start, but this DM and this player really likes it. So awesome. Another thing I wanted to highlight here is that we have arcane duels, or like wand duels. So the whole like, I'm going to meet you at high noon and we're going to have a quick draw to see who kills who. Like, first of all, there's an optional rule here where you can have wands as weapons. So your wands, rods, staffs, and orbs get actually those weapon mastery properties, and then you can incorporate those into your character. So wands have vex, rods have slow, staffs have the push property, and orbs and crystals have sap. So your arcane focus could actually have some of these weapon masteries. So when you're doing a duel with another non-player character or something, it's really fun. And I guess you could duel other players, which would be kind of an interesting thing as well. But there's 5 basic steps to do this. One is setting the stakes, the style, the stare, the actual shot, and then the score, which is determining the outcome of this. So these are the 5 phases. The first phase, you're going to say, are we doing this for pride, first blood, or is this a fight to the death? And the player will write down on a piece of paper the stakes. And so you agree, you can talk to the NPC, or you can talk to this like, hey, we're just doing this for pride. I just want to see if I can outgun you. Or, hey, we're going to do this for first blood, and that's going to avenge the insult that you did to my friend. Or, I hate you so much, we're going to do this to the death. Now, as you write these down in secret, you can lie. And that is revealed later on. Your reputation might take a hit if you lie, but that is an option you could do, and an option that the NPCs or GM or other players can do as well. So you write down that, and then you also write down your style. So this is a expanded rock, paper, scissors, basically. So you choose steadfast, quick, overwhelming, weird, or disruptive. And those keywords have a super effective against something else. So if I choose steadfast, it is effective against quick or disruptive. If I choose quick, it's effective against overwhelming and weird. And that comes into play here. So each style that you choose has a benefit. So if I choose steadfast, then during the shot, I can re-roll one of your fault dice. And if you do so, you must use the new result. But if I choose steadfast and my opponent chooses quick or disruptive, I also gain that I have advantage on my attack roll during the shot. So we reveal these first, then we know the bonuses that we have, and we utilize them. The next step of the duel is the stare, which you're going to roll for initiative. And then the duelist with the lowest initiative score declares the move that they will make. And then, so you know what the player is going to do ahead of time. And then the duelist with a higher initiative declares the move that they're going to make. You roll the stare. Both duelists make an ability check using the ability and skill linked to their move. And then you resolve for the victor. So with the stare, it's an intense experience as you size up your opponent and prepare to cast a spell. Because of this, you cannot maintain concentration on a spell during the stare, and you cannot use reactions during it. And then finally, the shot. So you're actually going to shoot your magic out, fire your magic. You're going to roll initiative. You're going to reveal your style and power, which is what we decided earlier. You wrote it down and you hid it from each other. And the level of the spell slot that you expended. So you take note of the benefits of the styles. If one duelist expends a higher level spell slot than the other, they gain a trick die. And then you cast. You make a ranged spell attack. Duelists roll 1d6 for each trick die that they have and add it to their attack roll, keeping the die visible. And then duelists roll 1d6 for each fault die they have and subtract it from their attack roll, keeping the dice visible. Strategic twist: depending on your chosen style, duelists may have the opportunity to re-roll trick or fault dice, and the duelist with the lowest initiative count resolves their style first, then the duelist with the highest initiative count acts. And then once all of those trick and fault dice have been rolls, any strategic twist has been resolved, the character with the highest result wins the duel, and if there is a tie, both duelists suffer the effects. And then, so you're not actually casting a spell, you're kind of like doing arcane magic, but it comes back into, now that you have finished the shot, you score it up. And so if you're doing this for pride, the loser will lose 1 hit die. If you do first blood, the loser is reduced to a number of hit points equal to half their hit point maximum. And I kind of like that. If they have fewer than half their hit points, they go to 1. And then death, the loser is reduced to 0 hit points. And if you're using those optional rules from earlier, that can have major ramifications. And I really like that. And look at this cool art. I love it so much. So the Western Frontier, this whole chapter 2 is just like lots and lots of text, which is awesome, about encounters on the road. Here's our map. Like I said, here's Quickstone right here. And then Greywall and Ardev is down there. And this is kind of, and anything west of Quickstone is frontier land, pretty much, because you've got the gateway here coming in. And then various towns on the frontier. So Ardev, and gives you information about that. So this is just able to go through and know like the various cities and why they are important and why they are there. So as your players explore and they're like, I want to go to Orcbone. What's at Orcbone? Well, I can tell you some interesting things about Orcbone. It is said that the region around Orcbone is haunted by the ghosts of both Breelish soldiers and the Western Reavers who have fallen over the centuries. Fun times. And then finally, we get to Quickstone, which this is a map of Quickstone that gives very detailed areas. All these little areas are numbered, so you can go and understand the locations that you're in, because this is going to be kind of your base of operations for quite a bit. The lightning rail comes through this town, and you have a bunch of people in tents that are outside that can't necessarily, they don't have the money to be in Quickstone, but yeah. Gorgeous map, really cool. It really feels like an Eberron map with some of the art that they've done in Exploring Eberron and Chronicles of Eberron. Super cool. All right, and then this is about frontier characters. So how do you play characters? And in typical Keith Baker Eberron fashion, he really extrapolates like, here, these are the things that are in the player's handbook. Here's how you make them apply to Eberron, and then your characters hopefully will care. So you're playing in Eberron not because I want to be a sorcerer and I want to do sorcery things. You're saying, well, now that you are a sorcerer, where did your magic come from? You have to ask a lot of questions. What happened during the war? Why do you want to be part of this faction or things like that? Why have the things happen to you? And I've always really liked that aspect of Eberron, of making you fit in the world. Subclass number 1 is Barbarian Path of the Demon Shard. So in Droem and the Frontierlands, there are these like stone glass shard things that are demon shards, and they have strange fiendish magical powers. This one is you're kind of dipping into the fiendness of your heritage. And this gray person might be a gargoyle. I'm not entirely sure. On the Path of the Demon Shard subclass is all it says on the art, but it's a really cool weapon. Pretty cool. I always love the Artificer bards. I just think it's really fun. But yeah, College of Wands for bard. You get a bonus cantrip, and this is kind of all about being the wand slinger, like arcane duelist, I feel. So it really taps into that aspect of it. So bonus cantrip. You also know how to talk yourself up. If you speak to a creature for at least 1 minute, you can attempt to distract and rattle them when the call to action finally comes. If the creature rolls an initiative count equal to or higher than your own, it must make a wisdom saving throw against your spell save DC. On a failed, the creature's initiative is reduced to be equal to yours, and it acts immediately after you. And that's pretty cool if you're having one of those, like talking to the big boss. You know that the fight's going to happen at one point. So you're like, guys, let's keep him talking for at least a minute, because then we can like crush his initiative. And that is something gamified in that I want to get a bonus to initiative, but it also allows the DM to have his like quote unquote monologue for the big bad guy. And I think that's really fun. Cleric has the commerce domain, so all about money. I've always liked that. I think there was a commerce warlock that is not Eberron, but it was another DM's Guild thing that I really enjoyed because I like the idea of this like greedy fiend being your patron. But yeah, level 3, Divine Wealth. Your spiritual savvy manifests as material wealth. When you finish a long rest, you conjure 2 divine coins and lose any previously unspent coins. Whenever you make a saving throw, you can choose to spend a divine coin or gain a divine coin. If I spend a coin, I roll a d4 and add that number rolled to the saving throw. If I gain a coin, I roll a d4 and subtract the number rolled. The number of divine coins you conjure when you finish a long rest changes when you reach certain levels. So I get more as I level up. But that's kind of fun. I can like, I'm going to hoard some of these so that I can like use them. And I assume I can spend more than one. Money Spinner level 3. You present your holy symbol to do Channel Divinity. Choose a number of creatures within 30 feet of you equal to 1 + 1 more for each divine coin you expend when you use this feature. So you're getting a meta currency with that. Okay. And then you can charm people. You can blind people with a bribe. Divine Bargain level 6. You magically conduct a metaphysical trade with one creature you can see. So you give one of your divine coins to a target, and it can spend the divine coin as if it had your divine wealth feature. Okay. Target takes 1d8 necrotic damage, and you or one creature that you can see within 30 feet of you regains hit points. So that's buy or sell. Sell is I take 1d8 damage, and the target regains hit points equal to the damage taken. And then open market. And so Ranger, there's a Bloodhound Ranger. Looks like you're kind of, you're like a tracker. Eyes on the prize. You focus everything, bringing your chosen target down. When you attack, take the attack action and target only one creature with your attacks, you can make an additional attack against that creature. Pretty exciting. Nowhere to hide. And then there's a Nemesis Sorcery. This is a really cool picture. Spell deflection, readied magic. You're kind of a wand slinger. Yeah. Quicken Mind, Expansive Mind, some cool stuff. And then the Warlock Stone Sovereign Patron. This is, like Medusas and things like that are maybe your patron, or various fiendish creatures underground. So like that. Stone Speaker, you share a language with earth elementals. Stone Sovereign spells, you gain some extra spells as you are this. And Form of Stone level 6. Whenever you have the petrified condition, you are aware of your surroundings and you have immunity to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage. Additionally, you've learned to take on a stone form to protect yourself from injury. As a reaction, when you take damage, you can give yourself the petrified condition until the start of your next turn. So you can kind of freeze up and take no damage, which is kind of cool. You always have the Meld into Stone spell prepared, and when you cast it, you can choose up to 5 willing creatures. And then, you Stone Servant. You gain the ability to control the actions of petrified creatures. One creature with the petrified condition that you touch becomes an earth elemental spirit. That's pretty cool. So yeah, pair this with being a Medusa. Super fun. And then new species, you can be a Gargoyle, which is pretty awesome. Gargoyles have dark vision. You're immune to disease. You don't need to sleep. And then you have stone skin. So you, while not wearing armor, your base armor class is 13 plus your dexterity. You can be gnolls. Gnolls were actually found in, I believe, Exploring Eberron, but they're updated here for the 2024 rules. I really like the Harpy. I think that's really cool. And there's another explanation here of shadow magic where the Harpy's abilities are spells, but they are not meant to be magical spells in that sense. Like mechanically they're spells, but they're just like the Medusa's eye gaze. These are, they call them shadow magic in the sense that they're abilities that are intrinsic to that monster. And you should think about those, think about that as you are casting them, and not just like, I cast Charm Monster, but I'm a Harpy. I start screaming and charm them with my beautiful songs or something like that. Medusa, Their shadow magic, ensnaring strike, hold person, hypnotic pattern, hold monster. All of these are the eyes petrifying them or starting to, kind of a thing. And you gain this new cantrip called Gray Gaze, which is a petrifying aspect that can build up, which is kind of cool. And then tieflings, it gives you some infernal creatures that, or legacies here, and then you get certain aspects based on those. And then Warforged. Warforged are actually pretty straightforward here. You have advantage on saving throws to end the poison condition. You don't need to eat. You do not gain levels of exhaustion due to malnutrition or suffocation, immune to disease, which, ooh, that's a big one. I know that 2024, I'm really curious about the monster manual coming out because I think that there's going to be lots of disease things. So being immune to disease might be a little too much, but who knows? Maybe it's not. And then your integrated protection where you can put armor on, but you have to take a long rest to do it. And then here's the weird one. You can be a warg. Like you can be a 4-legged warg. And so it says here you're quadruped. So you can't hold items in your paws, but you can do things. You have disability on checks that require fine manipulation. You can't wear armor designed for humans. You can carry a rider. So you can be a like talking warg, and that's just funny to me, but I like the idea of it. There are various foes. These are some of the monsters that they've added into this supplement. They look cool. Lots of gargoyles and things like that. And then lastly, the Heart of Stone adventure, which I won't go into any exact details of, but you're going from 1 to 5, and it looks pretty fun. Train travel, other stuff like that. So that's Frontiers of Eberron, Quickstone. It is available on the DM's Guild. Links down below to the DM's Guild. Thank you so much, Keith Baker and Imogen, and the team over there for sending me this preview PDF. And yeah, it feels a little odd to get such extra class stuff when the 2024 handbook is just coming out right now, but here we are. And I think if you're playing in an Eberron game and you're going to update to the 2024 rules, this is really valuable. If you are playing an Eberron game and interested in the Frontiers, this is valuable. I'll put some links down below and on the end cards here of various other DM's Guild products that I like. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.